Welcome to NuttieBuddie Sports.
So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about each team. We're not going to go super in depth. We're going to talk about the teams that we think what they'll pick position wise, especially. But what we will also do is if me and Eric are at a impasse, Eric will make the final decision for the teams that are odds, and I will do the teams that are even. So we'll start out with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They got the number 1 pick this year. And I just brought up another mock draft done by Peter King, and I got one on DraftWire. So DraftWire mentions that they think that the Jaguars will take Aiden Hutchinson, the defensive end out of Michigan. Peter King on Yahoo Sports, he thinks that they're going to take Trayvon Walker. Eric, what do you think they should do, and what do you think they will do?
Well, I think they should take Hutchinson.
Mm-hmm.
I think overall, from what I hear about him, is that he's more polished player. You watch a tape, he does good. It sounds like Trayvon Walker jumped off a little bit in the combine, I believe. But I think they should take Hutchinson. They need an edge rusher. But what I think they will do is take Trayvon Walker. I think that the GM, it sounds like what I read a couple things that they want him. They like his versatility, but the only way that gets overridden, I think, would be by the owner, who I hear wants Hutchinson, is what I was reading online. So, but I think the GM's going to win that battle just because this ain't a quarterback they're talking about. This is scheme fit, and the owners usually tend to let the football people make the football decisions. So I think they're going to take Trayvon Walker.
Okay. So I am with you that's who they'll probably take. He was out of, I mentioned that he was out of Georgia, right? Yep. I guess what I understand when listening to the experts on this is he was basically asked to play a role that didn't allow him to rush the passer, and that's why teams are falling in love with him, is because he's sort of a team guy, but he has all like this athleticism, and he did amazing, like you mentioned, on the combine, and that's why he raised up the draft stock. The problem is, I feel like with Trayvon Walker is we just haven't seen him do what teams are going to want him to do to get to the quarterback, because that's the most important thing you can do in the NFL. I'm with you. That's who they're going to take, but I'm going to say that I wish they would take an offensive lineman, either Evan Neal or Ike Kamwu. And the only reason why I say that is I watched a lot of Jacksonville Jaguars games because of Luke, obviously, watching Trevor Lawrence, and he would tell me that Trevor Lawrence has zero time to pass the ball. He's getting hit constantly. And I just feel like I'm again, so this is sort of like, I guess, difference in our philosophy is I would rather get the offensive lineman to protect Trevor Lawrence than the defensive lineman to get after the other quarterback. So I would take one of the offensive tackles. However, I agree with you. They will probably take Trayvon Walker. So we're going to take him then?
Yeah, we're going to take him, sadly.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Okay, so next up is the Detroit Lions. So this is our dad's team, and if I would pick anyone at this point besides Aiden Hutchinson, he would not be happy. He would turn off the podcast at this point. Aiden Hutchinson is, according to Peter King, the pick for the Lions, and because Hutchinson's already gone in the draft wire, they went Kayvon Thibodeau. Eric, what do you think? Aiden Hutchinson, the obvious answer here then?
I'm going to try to play devil's advocate and say maybe they should try looking elsewhere and draft a cornerback maybe. They could use the help, but I mean, that's just playing devil's advocate. To me, it's Aiden. If Aiden Hutchinson is there, they take Aiden Hutchinson. There's zero reason not to. He's a Michigan grown product. He'll stay in a Michigan State. They need the help. They could use cornerback help, I do believe. They don't have, but you have to take Hutchinson if he's still there.
Yeah, I agree. So the question really is for Detroit, because obviously there was a report on Bleacher Report that I got today. A lot of teams are looking to trade down. Detroit Lions is one of them, especially I think if Hutchinson is gone. It would be nice for them to be able to trade down. And by the way, everybody, we're not going to like predict trades or do trades on the podcast because they're so random, but we might talk about teams making a trade. I just don't see anybody who would want to jump up, and if so, like what would they, who are they jumping up for at this point? You know what I'm saying? Unless if somebody like really likes Walker or Thibodeau and that's who makes it to the number 2 selection. But other than that, I just don't see a trade out there for them for somebody to make it jump that high.
And the only other option I would think would be like a team that wants to make a big splash and get a quarterback that they fell in love with, between Pickett and Malik Willis. I think that's his name. Sorry if I got it wrong.
No, you got it right.
Okay, good. But with unless a team is that's little like middle round or late top 10 at the earliest is in love with one of those two guys, but what would they be willing to give up is the big question. So let's say the Seahawks are in love with one of the two guys. The next couple picks, most likely, at least the next 2, aren't going to probably draft a quarterback. So what would you be willing to give up? You ain't going to want to give up too much capital to move up to the number 2 spot. So I have a hard time seeing a trade happen without some team thinking that a lot more of the top 2 quarterbacks than anybody else is thinking.
Yeah, I agree. I sort of wish, they could trade back as a Detroit fan, especially if Hutchinson's there. I wonder if the interest in Walker, if he falls to number 2, I wonder if there's a team that would be like, yeah, we really loved him and we're willing to give up multiple first-round picks this year to go up a handful of spots to get him. That's the only way I see it happening. Other than that, I think Detroit takes Hutchinson.
But yeah, and I do get that. What team, like, I could only see the back half of the draft wanting to do that.
Well, Philadelphia, maybe they got 3 first-round picks.
Yeah,
and they like their quarterback. I think Hurts, they're going to stick with him. That would be one team. Like the Saints are a wild card because they're going with Jameis again.
He's a wild card.
Yeah. The Jets and the Giants have 2 first. I thought the Jets had 3. I don't remember. I don't have every draft pick up here. So it only goes up to 16 on this list. But we'll be able to see. But I think there are some options, right? But it's just like, is Walker worth those 2 first-round picks to Philadelphia? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and then if you're the Lions, who I don't think are they need help, but I don't think they need a ton of help. How far back are you willing to drop in the draft?
Yeah.
Because I think the help they need is playmakers, like big name playmakers, and not just filling out the roster. So, I just have a hard time imagining it. But I don't think it's going to be a question if Hutchinson's on the board. I think that'll be the second fastest pick I've ever seen in my life.
Correct. So let's go with Hutchinson there. So let's go to number 3. We're going to be making a selection for the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans, according to DraftWire, will draft Trayvon Walker. And according to Peter King, he has Ike Ekwonu, the offensive tackle out of North Carolina State. Eric, what say you? Who do you think they should grab, or what should they grab?
This pick will tell me a lot what the Texans truly believe in. If they believe that Millis is their future, not Millis.
Davis Mills.
Sorry.
It's close enough. You were combining like the 2. That's why it's funny. Dave.
My bad. Let's try that again. So if they believe Mills is the future, I believe they grab either Neal or Ekwonu.
Yeah.
because that's showing that they believe he's the future. They're trying to protect him. And I would agree with that. If they draft any other position, I believe they're playing for next year. Like hardcore playing for next year to get another top 5 pick. So my gut saying is they're going to grab, I hear a lot of chatter about Gardner. I think he has a nickname, if I remember correctly.
I think you're right.
I think it's like Sauce or something like that. I don't know, but apparently he never allowed a touchdown or something like that. I'm thinking that they are going to take a chance on him due to I just don't think that they're going to take a shot at I just think they're going to take a shot at a cornerback. I just have a feeling that they're going to draft Ahmad Gardner.
Okay, so you're right. It is Sauce. I just looked it up for you.
Okay, sorry
Sauce,
guys.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I forgot to say that they do have their top 3 needs are corner, edge rusher, and offensive tackle. Now, I'm going to say personally, I think they do go after an offensive tackle. I would say Ike Ikamu. I actually agree with Peter King's draft. I think that they actually believe in Davis Mills, and I do believe that they will try to set him up so he can't fail. So if he does fail, then they know to draft a quarterback next year. However, Eric, this is an odd number, so it's your pick. So who you going at for the Texans?
I just see Lovie Smith wanting a cornerback as the new head coach for the Texans. And I believe he fits what Lovie Smith likes to do.
Okay.
That is tough because I don't disagree with you about that offensive lineman because they could really use it. I'm going to go with what I would do, I guess, if I was them, and I'm in the same boat as you. Is would go with the offensive lineman, and I'll go with Akeem. I cannot pronounce his name.
Ikamu. Yeah,
him.
I got you.
I'm going to go with him. I do hesitate on it just because if we're going what I think they're going to do, I do believe they'll grab Gardner, but I'm going a little biased here and saying that they should try to do what they can to find out what they have in Mills.
Perfect. Okay, that's awesome. Well, that was our first disagreement, but we did come to an agreement. So anyway, let's move on to the Jets then. So the Jets' needs are offensive tackle, edge, and corner. That's their top 3 needs. Peter King actually has Sauce Gardner going to the Jets. The draft wire has Ike Ikamu going there, the offensive tackle. So Eric, what do you think the Jets are going to do here, or what should they do?
Oh, I think they should grab Evan Neal, actually, the other offensive tackle. Again, it's the same philosophy as you had with the Texans. You got to find out what you have in Zach Wilson. I think they're going to be more hard pressed to try to find out what they got in him because how they spent high draft capital on him, more than the Texans. So I think they take the best offensive tackle available, and I believe that is there at that moment in time, and I believe that will be Evan Neal would be my guess.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning that way as well. They do need offensive tackle real bad. I know they need corner and an edge rusher, but again, I just feel like you got to protect your young quarterback. I think Thibodeau would be very interesting for a Robert Saleh team. And so would the corner, Sauce Gardner. I think both those guys would be very interesting, and the Jets would be very interested in it. But if you want to give your young quarterback, Zach Wilson, okay, you failed on you failed on Sam Darnold, okay? Part of the reason why you failed is you might have missed on him, but he definitely was one of those people who were seeing ghosts towards the end of his career as a New York Jet because he thought he was always under pressure. So if you learn anything, you need to build that offensive line for Zach Wilson. So I'm with you. I'm going Evan Neal as well. So we're drafting Evan Neal, Eric.
Yep.
Okay, let's do it. Evan Neal is off the board. Okay. Which probably makes the Giants a little sad. However, they also need an offensive tackle, edge rusher, and safety. Let's see here. So Peter King has them taking Charles Cross, which is the third offensive tackle that would be off the board in Mississippi State. And so does DraftWire has Charles Cross coming off of the board here for the Giants. Again, Daniel Jones is their quarterback. They're sticking with him this year. Eric, what do you think the Giants do? And by the way, the Giants have another pick in 2 picks. So what do you think the Giants do here?
Here's what I would do if I were the Giants at the very least. I would take best player available. I know you have the young quarterback. I get that they want to find out what they have in Daniel Jones. I believe I know what they have in Daniel Jones. And it ain't much, to be honest. So if I were the Giants, I would be looking at Kayvon Thibodeau. Yes, I think I said that one.
Yep.
The Oregon edge rusher, or one of the two, or Gardner is one of the two I would be mainly looking at. I wouldn't even be really looking at the offensive tackle right at this moment, because I mean, they're in the luxury, I will say, of having a pick right after a team that really doesn't. I think I have an idea what the Panthers are going to do if they can't trade back. But I would just take the edge rusher. I don't believe in Daniel Jones, so I wouldn't be working on building around him right now. And I believe that that Kayvon is much better than the rest of the, he's just a better edge rusher than the next available one, where I think you might have a shot for the another decent offensive tackle later in the draft. So I would grab Thibodeau. I think I'm saying it right.
Yeah. Kayvon Thibodeau. So, I'm kind of with you. So here's the thing. They got to just play their cards right here, right? Because what they don't want to do is leave somebody on the board at number 6 that somebody is willing to trade up for. And they might be able to get 2 guys that they want, right? Like the 2 highest guys, whether it's, let's say if they really want Cross and they really want Thibodeau, it's more likely in my mind that somebody will trade up for Thibodeau than somebody would trade up for the offensive tackle, right? So I'm actually with you. I think they should go Kayvon Thibodeau here, and then hopes that Cross falls to them at pick 7. So we taking Thibodeau here, so we can stop trying to pronounce his name. We probably butchered it like 6 times. So here we go.
I probably had 6 different pronunciations too in my one sentence about him.
Okay, yeah, no. So let's go on to the Carolina Panthers. They also need an offensive tackle, quarterback, outside linebacker. I'm sorry, is their 3 main needs according to the Draft Network. The Peter King has them taking Evan Neal, the offensive lineman, and the DraftWire also has Evan Neal going to the Panthers. We have him off the board right now. So, Eric, you are the Buccaneers fan here. You know a lot about the South division. What are we hearing from Carolina? What do you think they do here?
Well, my opinion is pretty simple. I just think with how the Panthers have been going quarterback crazy lately, if you're wondering what the Panthers are going to do, I think they're going to take a shot at a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that they're going to take Malik Willis, who I think is the better prospect, but I think they're going to take Pickett.
Now what I understand, Eric, what I understand when I was listening to people, Pickett is more like NFL. They say like NFL ready. He just doesn't have as high as a ceiling as Malik Willis, right?
Yep. And that's what I heard about Pickett is that he's more NFL ready. than the rest of the quarterbacks. Doesn't have this high. They don't think he has as high of a ceiling, but they think that he is going to come in and produce right away. I think the way the Panthers have been organizing their team, always trying to get a quarterback, always. They traded for Sam Darnold. I heard they were in the market of trying to get other quarterbacks this year, and none of it panned out. The owner sounds like he wants to make a splashy move. I'm going to guess they will take Pickett. But if I were them, I would just take anybody else.
Yeah, I think if we're probably doing, we probably go after that offensive tackle, right? Charles Cross.
Yeah.
That would make a lot of sense. But I'm with you. I think they go Pickett here. I think that this is where I think they honestly, I think they try to trade down. That's what they're going to try to do. If they're unable to trade down, this is Matt Rule, right? That's the coach for Carolina. This is his last year to prove that he has something. And he needs to get a quarterback that he trusts, because I don't think he trusts Darnold. So I'm with you. I think they draft Pickett.
Yep, and that's just it. Is that like you have Rule, who's going to be it's going to be a make or break season if he ain't showing some sort of progress, and if the quarterback isn't showing anything, and they haven't had anything in quarterback position since Matt Rule really been there. So, and they were taking shots at Cam Newton, who's a shell of himself. I mean, like. I just feel like that they're grabbing a quarterback. I feel like this is the chance if they can't trade back, which I believe a lot of the teams are going to try to trade back. I think they're going to grab Pickett if they can't, because they want to make a big move. This is the move. Their team isn't that bad where I think they need a ton of help, but I get what the thought process is. I still would take a shot at every other position on the board. So, but
yeah, I agree, but I'm with you. I think they take Pickett. So let's take Pickett. Okay, he's taken. Oh my God, I can't believe they take our. That's what the draft room is going to be all like. Oh man, okay. So now after that, we get back to New York. And I'm just going to say this is probably where they take their offensive tackle, Charles Cross. What do you think, Eric?
I'm going to play devil's advocate for 1 second.
Okay, go ahead. Yep.
I think they struggle with possibly taking Kyle Hamilton.
I like it. I was thinking him too, but go ahead.
Well, the reason I do in reality, if this is how the board fell, I do think they take Cross. But I would think, because Kyle Hamilton is, from what I hear, is supposed to be the best player in this draft. He just plays one of the least valuable positions.
I agree.
And the Giants need help everywhere. I think they'll grab Cross just because that's what a smart man would do, in my opinion. But I do think that they might wait another minute before turning in their card to discuss Hamilton to see if they want to take him here, because he's still there at the 7th pick. But I'm just, they'll grab Cross.
Okay.
I wanted to throw Hamilton's name out there.
No, I like that, because he was actually there was, when the draft process started, like the Lions at number 2 was rumored to be drafting him. Like he was in some mocks. So I'm glad you brought him up, but I'm with you. I think they take offensive tackle again, just the same line of reasoning with the other young quarterbacks. Protect your young quarterback, give him a reason not to fail. And if he fails, then at least you have a nice setup for your next young quarterback. Okay, so we're taking Cross for the New York Giants. Okay, the Atlanta Falcons here. Their top 3 needs are edge rusher, wide receiver, and quarterback. And then let's see what Peter King. Oh, I forgot to mention that Peter King mentioned that Kyle Hamilton will actually go to the Giants. So you and Peter King were on the same page. And DraftWire had Sauce Gardner going to the Giants. Okay, just wanted to get that out of the way. Okay, let's go to the Falcons. The Falcons, Peter King has Drake London, the wide receiver out of USC, and the DraftWire has Jermaine Johnson II, the Florida State edge rusher. So, Eric, where do you think the Falcons go? Do they go wide receiver, or do they go with the edge rusher, or where else would they go?
I'm going to go with edge rusher. I don't think they need a ton of help on cornerback. I mean, they need help everywhere. They're not a very good football team. But I'm going to go back to our original one draft philosophy that me and you agreed on. You've been build inside out. I think the Falcons have a terrible pass rushing. I think they need all the help they can get. So if I were the Falcons, I would take Jermaine Johnson. Tempted for a receiver because they could use the help there. There's not a QB I think that will fit them at all. But I would take a shot at Jermaine Johnson.
Okay, I'm gonna obviously agree with you. Jermaine Johnson is probably the pick. Wide receivers got to be super tempting for them though, because with Calvin Ridley suspended for the season, they have none. I think Russell Gage signed somewhere else. I can't remember where he signed this offseason, but he's not with
Tampa.
I think he's with Tampa. That's right. I was going to say he's with Tom Brady. So that's tempting that they take a wide receiver, but do we want to stick with our philosophy and just go edge rusher here?
Yeah, I mean, it's very tempting to say wide receiver, but I just believe they need help on the edge more than they need help with the receiver. I think they could get a receiver that will contribute in the second round.
That's another great point.
Maybe in the free edges disappear really fast. You have one available, take it. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, that's a really great point. This draft is deep at wide receiver as well. So it just like every draft seems to be deep at wide receiver now. So yeah, let's just take Jermaine Johnson. Okay, Seattle. So Seattle Seahawks kind of get the short end of the stick here because they need an offensive tackle. And on our board here, there's no offensive tackles right now. And quarterback is a need for them, an edge rusher. And we just lost Jermaine Johnson. So so Peter King actually does trades, and for some reason Houston trades up here to get Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver. Hopefully we don't got a trade here. Okay, so Derek Stingley Jr. is who the draft wire has Seattle picking. So Eric, what do you think? Where does Seattle go?
Honestly, I would love for them to take a shot at a quarterback. I do believe they need an offensive lineman more than any other position, but they're just, if you can't trade back to like a couple picks, because I would love to see them try to trade back to get Zion Johnson from Boston College or something like that. But I think that they should. What they need help with isn't available, and that's the issue. So I'd go with the route you take the best player available now, because what they need help with really isn't, I don't think is a perfect fit for them. I don't think that they're going to draft a quarterback. I would grab Ahmad Gardner or Sauce Gardner.
Mm-hmm.
If he's still sitting there, he's the best player available in my book. They need help on the corner.
Eric, no, I agree with you, Eric. I would as well take, and they do need corner help. The Seahawks, they do need corner help as well, and their defense needs help. So I agree with them taking Sauce Gardner here. Are we good with that?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay, let's do it. And if you're the Jets, this is a dream scenario here because every single wide receiver is still available. So pick 10 wide receiver is still an option, and that's what Peter King has them taking. Jamison Williams, the tight end out of Alabama. Tight end, the wide receiver out of Alabama, and then the draft wire has them as well taking Jamison Williams. Did I say Wilson? Yeah, I said Wilson last time. Yeah, so Jamison Williams, wide receiver out of Alabama, which is hilarious because that's our last name as well, and for some reason I screwed that up. So what do you think, Eric? Where do the Jets go from here? Do you think they take Jamison Williams, or do you think they go, or a different wide receiver, or do they go elsewhere?
No, I think they grab whoever they consider the best wide receiver in the draft. Because I think you go with that they need they're trying to get the quarterback all the weapons they can get. They want to find out this year, at the latest next year, what Zach Wilson is. They got the offensive tackle to help them. I think they grab whoever they consider the best receiver. I don't know enough about the draft to say what receiver is best. But in this case, I will go with, if you got everyone available, you grab who's number one on your board. And I'm going to go with Jameson Williams.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was just looking up, I think he's a bigger receiver. He's 6'2". He's good at getting up for the ball. And it would be a nice pair with him and Elijah Moore. So I think that's the other two wide receivers were 6 foot, shifty. Not that's bad. I'm just saying if you're going to make the most sense building a team, you want different weapons that do different things. I think he's the one. I was listening to, who was it? Mel Kiper and what's his name? I don't remember the other guy. I should. Todd McShay. And they mentioned too, I believe it was Williams, because he's a jump ball wide receiver. Either way, whether it was him or not, I'm with you. Let's take Williams off the board here for the Jets. Thank you, everybody, for watching this clip of my brother and I picking the first 10 picks of the NFL draft. If you'd like to listen to the rest of our picks, the link to the podcast is down below for Apple and Spotify. Otherwise, you probably can find our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, me and my friend Chris, we break down the NBA playoffs so far. We give our quick hits on the same podcast feed, and again, the links will be below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will talk to you guys soon.